Hello everyone! We made it to the end of 2018. As you know, I'm Cheyenne Marie. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for your support. If you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe down below. It's right above the little comment section. I want to hear from you guys as well, so please leave a comment after the video is over. Just maybe a heart emoji is beautiful. A purple heart emoji would be more appropriate, I feel. Let's get right into it. So usually my page is about beauty and makeup and reviewing products for you guys, for beginners usually, and beginners specifically of people of color, because I am a person of color, melanated and all, and that's my audience. But today this is a video for everyone. I feel like not just influencers, but people in general need to honestly sit down and reflect before the year ends. We have one more day left of 2018. Just take the time out, just totally zen, burn your favorite candle, drink your favorite tea, and just look back on 2018 and then think about the changes you want to make in 2019 and then start it all over again. Humanity, life is, is a journey. We really do have to cherish it. So I think the most appropriate way to do this video is to go through each month one by one and up to this point. And it's going to be really emotional. If you are someone that cries at every little thing, I want to say it might not be the video for you, but it's okay to cry. I think you guys have to allow yourselves to cry, to have emotion. That's something I had to learn, and you have to learn how to deal with your emotions. But anyways, yeah, let's get started. So, let me get all comfortable here. 2018. I'm gonna give you a brief overview of December 2017 because it led up into this year. December was, I feel, out of control. Things happened that kind of made way for 2018. My health was, greatly jeopardized. I remember being sick all throughout that month, and just back-to-back illnesses kept hitting me. And then I was in a relationship at the time. I don't know if you guys remember my earlier beginning videos, but I did have an engagement ring because I was engaged to my partner for, we were together for 4.5 years. My high school sweetheart. We met at Morningside High School in Inglewood, but we were engaged, and during December 2017 we were just going through some really rough things, honestly, and my anxiety was at its highest with him. My insecurities and jealousies, like, things were really tense with our relationship. But then going into the new year, we tried to make an effort to rekindle our relationship and to grow up and to be adults. I moved in with him in January, kind of, sort of, officially started to live with him in, like, I want to say end of February, March or so. Yeah, I think it was about March I started to live with him consistently. We've tried on and off before. This time it was us on our own again, but in January we said we were energized. We brought in the new year on top of the roof of our home, looking at the fireworks of the city, and even then I was still really upset with him. It wasn't a great way to start the new year, as beautiful as it did sound. I was in a really bad space at that time. I was really grumpy and angry, and I feel like that energy, it's never good to start something new with negative emotions. I was woken up to celebrate the new year in a really bad way. I was grumpy, and already I feel like that kind of just foreshadowed the new year. So January is going good. I'm starting winter session, my first year of college, or my first winter session of college, and doing well with that, doing well with work and everything. I was struggling financially just because I was sick so much in December of 2017 that my finances were really bad. Like, I was in major debt. I had to take out loans and everything, and I had nowhere else to borrow from. started borrowing from one of my friends, and it just got to a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm trying right now. I'm going to start rebuilding myself to make up for December. So towards the end of January, my fiance gets arrested and he is incarcerated for about a month. And like I said before, we were trying to rekindle our relationship, and incarceration has been an issue throughout the relationship. And I brought in, I went into February because it happened January 31st or something, 30th or something, like whatever. He got arrested, and then I went into my birthday month, or our birthday month. Mine is on the 13th. His is on the 23rd. I'm like, wow, like, this cannot be happening right now. Like, literally, like, this cannot be happening right now. And then I had some also other issues with my dad, who went through something personal, like, I think a week after my birthday. We had to be separated for a bit, and that bothered me because it's like I cannot catch a break, and I wanted to be so happy and celebrate my 20th birthday with people that I loved, and then already 2 people are out of my life. I remember going to the court trials for my fiance, and I would sit there and I'm thinking he's gonna get off, like just like every other time they're gonna be lenient with him. But no, every time I went, they kept him. And I remember just one day it just broke me because I wanted him so bad. And I just could not believe that literally we were going to try starting our life together the adult way and actually seriously settle down. We were supposed to be married now, December. And that didn't happen, but whatever. We're gonna get up to that. So that was hard, but regardless, despite the few losses I had, I still was looking forward. I was still pushing through. I was still being that supportive, ride or die fiance. I don't drive. I don't have a car right now. But every Sunday I would go and take trips up to Castaic, which is one of the central men, or one of the Los Angeles men jails or whatever out here. 2 hours from me, almost 2 hours. And if you guys don't know where Castaic is, if you're from California, it's up near Six Flags, so it's a bit way away from me. I would go there. I made a way when there was no way, because remember, I don't drive, I don't have a car, and I hustled rides. I made sure that I went to work so I could go put money on his books. I made sure that he was okay. I made sure that I was okay. Both of us were okay emotionally and financially. And despite all of what was going on, I still celebrated my birthday week. I still, was able to have a good time with my friends. I felt okay. I started to kind of gain a confidence in myself because I realized if I can hold down this situation, then I can do anything. Because at this point, I was totally alone. I didn't have my fiance, who, despite all his shortcomings, I didn't really have to think too much on my own. Like, I kind of was able to lean on him for some things, and I was very much more sheltered and spoiled in that sense. But 100% this time I was alone, and I realized, okay, this is what I needed to feel secure with myself. So I want to say February was a month of security. I realized that I can handle certain situations, that I am capable, and that was a big thing, and that I am competent, because I really want to feel like I can handle things on my own as an adult. This is my first real trial as an adult. Despite being 18, 19, I feel like as a 20-year-old woman, I was able to come into womanhood through this year. So that was good. In that sense, that was a lesson I took from it. That's what I learned from it. I felt stronger in myself. I needed that strength to carry me over for the next few months. Because, okay. So, and I don't mean to ramble, you guys. I'm honestly trying to be clear and just speak to you as my thoughts are coming. And it might sound kind of jumbled up, but I'm really trying to be raw. And it's not scripted. Like, this is something real. Like, people really do go through things sometimes. In March, I felt like were getting back together finally, because my fiance was released. I remember I got the call at work, and I was so excited. I was so happy. things were okay. And honestly, when he was released, I think we should have ended things there, because I gained a sense of security with myself during the time he was away and clarity, and I think he did as well. And we both just didn't know when to let go, but we figured, hey, we might as well stay together. We've, made it this far. But you can tell already, because we went out to like Denny the night he got out, and I was like, you know what, maybe we should be cool with each other. Like, it's not gonna, maybe this is a good way to split. But we both just kept going, whatever. But I remember a few weeks into March, I woke up one morning, I believe it was March 20th, and I don't know what was going on with me. I don't know, I'm very spiritual, so I feel like certain things happen for a reason. But I woke up and some kind of whimsical quote came into mind, and it was something like, she fought till she couldn't fight anymore, or something, or she fought until her last breath. When later on that day, March 20th, around like 1:30 or so, my grandmother was fighting for her life. Until she couldn't anymore. She fought back, and they tried to resuscitate her about 6 times. 6 times! Like, my grandmother was not a quitter. She was strong. And she was just sick, so I don't understand how you can go from sick to like that, you're gone. But that day was just so weird for me, because I remember getting out of school and then everything was thrown off, and I'm very sensitive to vibes and everything. And if you guys know what an empath is, that's what I am. It's kind of like, I don't want to say like a human punching bag, but we kind of just take on others' emotions, and we help ease others' pains through taking on that emotion. It's a certain responsibility that people have. Sometimes we're just more in tune. And I remember getting out of class one day, and it was like around 1:30 or so. Because I remember, because I sat down, I was eating my pizza, things I felt like were good, and I remember looking at my phone, because I was on the phone, and I couldn't breathe. Like, I felt like something was pressing on my chest for a good moment too. Like, it was maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm like, oh my, like, I'm not having a panic attack, like, I don't know what's going on. But then it finally passed. So I was okay, not knowing what was going on with my grandmother, mind you. And I go out with my friend, we're gonna go get food or whatever, and then literally I pull up to my destination, and my mom gives me a call. She says, Grandma passed away, or she's gone. And I just remember I literally just collapsed, and like everything just seemed to be spinning, and hearing the cars zooming past me, and then my friends like yelling like, what's wrong? And then it's like, I don't get it. Like, I just, in that moment, I could not get just why things were coming after me back to back to back. Mind you, I was going through things since December of 2017, and I have not gotten a break. And then all of a sudden I lose a person that I love so much in my entire life, that I never looked up to anyone else besides her. I found my strength and my beauty through her. And this person's gone. I'm like, how can you be gone? And my friend literally had to kind of like carry me to her car, and I'm like, you know what? I was like, I'm done. Like, there's no reason. Like, why? How? Like, how could this be happening? I remember I'm calling people, I'm telling people, what's going on, and then I go to my fiance, and then, I told him, like, I need you, like, now, like, I can't do this right now, like, I really need you. So he comes, and we go back to my house, and I'm meeting with my family, and my uncle comes over, and just to see everyone so broken, and I felt so bad for my mom, because that's her mom, and so bad for my uncles, because, like, that's their mom, you know. And it's like, how, like, it's different seeing other people's emotion versus your own, because you see just how broken they are. And that was really hard for me to actually, like, wake up and see that, you know, my mom's a person. It's not just my mom. Like, she had a whole life before I came along, you know. And to think that, you know, I couldn't imagine losing my mom. Like, I know it's gonna happen one day, but I mean, I could not imagine actually living through that. Like, that would just totally, if it hurt me now and just being a grandmother, imagine just being a daughter, or just being a granddaughter. Imagine just being a daughter and then you know, your mother passed. Like, so we were dealing with that. And I remember I started really failing school, like, bad. Like, I was absent a lot more frequently. I was stressed. I could not focus. You know, I didn't care. You know, at work, I think I was a horrible person. I was a lot more short. I was a lot more distant. I started pushing away certain friends that had, you know, there was no reason to push them away, you know. But I started to kind of be really mean. Like, I just was not in the space to handle anything. Like, I did not care about anything. I was very focused on what was going on, and I was losing my grandmother and planning her memorial, which is something I had to do primarily alone. And I took it on myself because I understood that my family couldn't do it at the time. Like, emotionally, it felt like if I didn't do it, it would not be done. It would just be a cremation, and that was it, nothing more. And that's not bashing anyone or whatever, but I think sometimes it's okay to get things done, especially in a time of, like, grief like this. Like, you still need to remember that you have a life to live. So we did that, whatever. It didn't get done until, like, April something, and we were able to get the family together. So now we're in April, and things wrapping up my grandmother's memorial and everything, and it was so beautiful finally meeting family that I never met before, and to see them come together and to see, like, this is part of who I am that I've been missing for so long. And then when we were in a room together, it's like, wow, like, this is me. And I see the beautiful people around me. I see so many women. Like, there's so many women in my family, and they're all women of, like, you could tell they possess their own power, and it's amazing, because it's like, this is where my strength is. This is what they mean by roots. Like, these are my people. And that did something for me with my identity, because it's like, now I see where I get my strength from. Like, this is who I am. This is in my genetic makeup, that I am a strong black woman. Regardless of anything that comes my way, I can handle all things. And it was beautiful. I feel like that was a good way to start healing, is by being together and to reach out. And we all left on a good note. I feel like, you know, I'm a lot more closer to them. I'm not sure exactly what day that was. I think it was the 19th of April, but all that's done, and that's cool and whatever, and I'm feeling a little bit better in the healing process. I'm not sure if it was before or after, but I was really feeling empty, and I went through my own spiritual encounter after my grandmother passed, and it was honestly really scary. But things happen for a reason, so I'm not honestly gonna get into that right now, because it's a bit weird. Like, it's a bit scary. Like, I don't like talking about it unless my, like, only people I know are my fiance and my mother, my, you know, my immediate family, but not many people know what's going on and what had happened and what I went through. Fast forward maybe a couple days, maybe a week later. Again, I think this is also tied to the spiritual encounter. One day I get off of work, my fiance comes to pick me up, and I'm exhausted. I'm like, for whatever reason, even more so than ever before, I'm exhausted. And we were going back home. We lived in Compton at the time, and we had to catch the train, because at the time, he didn't drive at the time, and I don't have a car either, and I don't drive, so we caught the train home. On the way home, we saw a fight, and I'm not used to violence. I'm not used to seeing people acting out of character or under the influence, so this was really new to me to actually see someone get beat up in front of me. And it was just so crazy, because it's like, what do we do? Like, what do you do? And then my fiance wasn't understanding, because he comes from a different background than I do, where that isn't normalized, but he's a little bit more familiar with that in a sense. I'm just not. So I'm literally there shook, like what just happened? Like, did you not just see this guy get pushed onto the train tracks? Like, oh my god. And and then I'm thinking, I don't want him jumping in, because then it's like, I don't need you going back to jail. Like, we just came through this, and I don't need you, hurt over something that wasn't your business. And I was just all messed up from that. And we started arguing throughout the night, and it got worse and worse the closer and closer we got to our home. Now, our home was where I also had my first spiritual encounter. Not my first, but the more recent one, since my grandmother had passed. And the more we got closer to home, it was kind of like, it was just like a pot boiling. Like, you could just feel like I'm getting more and more upset, he's getting more and more upset, and we did not drop it. When we got, when we were getting ready to go to bed and everything, we did not drop it. We started being petty with each other, and he finally said something along the lines of, like, if you don't change your attitude, you can leave. And I snapped, and I was like, well, I'm out of here, And so I packed up my stuff, my little suitcase and everything, and you could tell at that point he was a different person. And it was like, so when I didn't know, he was a lot more cold. He was so distant. He wasn't, the usual person that I knew. I was trying to, like, kill time and BS and think, like, maybe if I go to another room, I don't have to deal with him, But he sat and made sure that I called myself a lift and that I went home. And that really bothered me that whole night, because he was not the man that I knew. And he literally, when my lift finally arrived, he literally carried my bags out to the lift, and he was done. And I was hurt, because it's like, we just went through so much, and I'm going through so much right now. Like, you can't do this to me now. And ironically, it happened 2 a.m, the day of my grandmother's birthday. The first year without her gone, I'm getting kicked out of my home by my fiance. Like, this is insane. And I remember trying calling one of my friends, and she didn't answer. And she's one of those people who, like, anything you need, it doesn't matter what time it is. It's like, just give me a call. And I remember that moment, I was like, well, where are you when I need you now? Like, I need you now. Like, I'm getting kicked out of my place. I need you now. I need someone to come get me now. I don't want to do this. And at that point, I lost already one of my other friends. We weren't talking because of my attitude. So it's like, I really had no one. And so I took my lift home at 2 a.m. And I remember coming up the steps to my mom's house, coming back home, and just feeling so defeated. It's like, I can't even do this right on my own. And I remember being so ashamed, because it's like, over and over, people told me, he's no good, he's not good for you, it's not going to end well, this and that. And then it's like, wow, all this hard work and effort trying to, make someone happy, trying to be mature and grow up for this person so you guys can have a real life together, and trying to actually settle down together, trying to actually be a wife, trying to actually incorporate that title and to take on that responsibility. And then it's like, all of a sudden, it disappears overnight. After 4.5 years, it disappears overnight. And I was so hurt. So from there, I started to really take time to be alone. I grieved. I'm still kind of grieving, but I'm just now in a stage where I'm getting over it. Like, I'm honestly, like, with all respect to my ex and his family and, whatever, but it's like, I'm good. Like, I don't ever need to ever associate with that person ever again in my entire existence, unless that person is like, unless he was saved, he's in church, he's, actively in the Word of God, actively living it. Cool. He cut certain people out of his life. Cool. I believe, like, we get each other. I don't want to say he's my soulmate, not anymore. I don't want to say so, but I feel like I would take him back if he was 100% on the straight and narrow in a heartbeat, because I love him. but and I love him together. I love him when we're together. I love him with my family. Like that man meant like so much to me, but I can never ever take him back as he is now. So whatever, but you'll see. Girl, I'm getting to it, y'all. I'm getting to it. It's an emotional process. So, April, I'm going through actually experiencing, loss of my grandmother, loss of a relationship. I took on some roles at school, after dropping. I think some of my classes had already dropped me, so I was like, whatever, let me just finish off this one course. Let me just, please, by the grace of God, let me get through it. I got through it, whatever. I decided to do a modeling event for my college, and we had our show in May. So wait, March, April, May, yeah. And I feel like that moment was another powerful moment in starting to rebuild myself, because I felt confident that I could do it. And I wanted to be a model. I always want to be a model, but I feel like I'm a little bit too big. I'm too short, And it's never really a skin issue with me. Like, I've never had an issue with being, African American. Like, my skin is my skin. But it was more about my weight and my height that bothered me. And my hair, So doing this, and it was my first event without having certain people in my life to share it with, and being able to just absolutely rock the show. I was living, like, when I tell you guys I was living my best life, like, that carried me into the summer, that feeling of, I could say I'm a model because I am, and having the people that came out to support me that night, nothing but women, it was so empowering, and I needed that. And that was when me and my friends started to actually rekindle our friendship and everything, and I was so grateful for her, to have her back in my life, because she's a strong, beautiful woman. Like, you guys, you could never ask for a better friend. Like, she's literally like my soulmate in like a non-romantic way. I thought soulmates were people you were supposed to be with romantically, but she's my soulmate. Like, this is my person. Like, this is my person, And she's always been a strong, positive, driving force in my life. And so having her there, having her mother there, and then having, my family there, and my other friend and her mother, just was something that I really needed, and it was really nice to have their support, and I need that so bad. And also, you guys peep the reoccurring theme: women, like strong women. My family my memorial for my grandmother, majority of them women. Going to this fashion show, people supporting me were women. Me coming into womanhood, like, these things, it's a recurring theme. So we got through May. May was a good month. May was a month of kind of like rebuilding, I figured I'm gonna be a whole new person. June, I went on a trip to San Diego. I finished school. That was nice and everything. I didn't finish school, but I finished school for the semester. I went to a trip for San Diego, and it was my first time, like a first adult trip, kind of, in a sense, where I'm away from home. And it was overnight, but I'm away from home. It's something that's not academic based. It's literally just me and my girlfriend. We're going out, or like my girl, like, friend, like, she's like my girl that's a friend. Me and my girlfriend, and we're just going to San Diego and having a good, wholesome girls' night out. Like, it was so fun, and we had a beautiful hotel by the marina in San Diego, and it was just so awesome, you guys. And I started to kind of enter the dating world a bit, maybe looking for like a rebound, kind of, sort of, but I figured, you know what, I need to move on, and mainly out of spite, because my ex had already started to move on, and he just made things so horrible. So I was like, you know what, maybe it's normal for me to move on. Like, although we've been together for 4.5 years, am I supposed to start having feelings for other people? Like, when am I supposed to start dating? So I had to figure all that out, because I was with this person for so long, from 15 to 20. So now it's like, what is dating? How do I do that? You know what I mean? So I'm navigating through that type of world, and I started taking back summer classes in like July and everything, and August. Well, July and August are pretty dead months. I don't really have anything to say about them too much. I met some guys, I met some a-holes, some guys I just honestly want to play games. And through those experiences, I realized, you can't just be giving your time and your presence to people that don't deserve it, you know? Like, really knowing what your worth is and adding tax to it. Like, you really have to understand that means cutting off your presence from certain people, cutting off your vibes. They don't need to have your vibes and your aura in their life. Some people like to be miserable. Some people like having excuses. Some people like to just be nothing in life. They don't have any drive, whatever. But you cannot let negative people, or people that whose aspirations don't align with yours, if you guys are constantly, if you aren't on the same path, if you guys aren't parallel, you guys are constantly intersecting, constantly coming into some kind of roadblock, you guys aren't gonna make it. You know what I mean? You guys have to have some type of similar mindset. You know, great minds think alike. You guys have to both be on a similar pathway, and not just with goals, but with your aura, you know, your personalities, your energies. Energy is everything to me. If you're exuding, you know, negative energy, it's gonna reflect on me in the relationship, and then I'm done with that. Honestly, I'm done with feeling like crap all the time. I'm done with having anxiety attacks. Being in my last relationship, it put me in therapy for about a year, almost 2 years or so, because I was having major anxiety attacks and my stress levels were there. Like, it was really bad, where I was doing crazy stuff, where I was trying to show up to where he was and tracking his Google locations. Like, that's never necessary. That's not cute. This whole behavior of being bipolar, because mental illness is real, so you want to tag on being bipolar, or, oh, I'm that crazy ex-girlfriend. No, that's not cute behavior. That's toxic, and that's toxic to yourself, and that's toxic to your partner. Your partner doesn't deserve that, and neither do you. If your partner's putting you in that place, you need to leave. If you are allowing that person to put you in that place, you need to leave. And don't be scared to walk away, because there's resources out there for you. I found them, I got help, and I actually had to put my foot down. Because if I went back and said, hey, you know what, I don't want a better life for myself, I want to still keep repeating that pattern. If that night when my ex had kicked me out and he said you could either change your attitude or leave, if I would have just changed my attitude and shut up and sit down and lay down, I probably wouldn't even be making this video. I don't know where I would be. Who knows? But I know I wouldn't be where I am today. And mind you, I didn't start making my YouTube videos until February when he was away. So I started taking on projects to better myself even way back then. It's like my life had already, like, my God had already knew where my life was going to go. He started setting up certain things for me in my life, certain events that he knew my ex can't be a part of. Y'all know what my ex said to me when I had told him that, oh, I'm thinking some financial investors, who I thought at the time really were financial investors, were interested in my videos. I told him I was excited. I'm like, hey, you know, and we were broken up at this time, but we were still talking, just talking on good terms, I guess. I said, hey, you know, I think I have some people interested in, you know, investing and sponsoring me and my videos. Like, they want to sit down and have a meeting and everything. He laughed in my face and said, oh, they're going to dog you out. I can hear his laugh, and it's haunting. And I don't like having hate for people, so I have to monitor that, but it's haunting. This is the person that says they love me. This is the person I said I loved. We've been through so much, and for them to act that way when they should be cheering for me, you guys have to peep when people are honestly just, when people are cheering for you and people that are honestly on the sidelines booing you. The people that are booing you, it's not cute to have haters. Don't say, oh, you do it for your haters or whatever. You need to ignore them and focus on the energy that's rooting for you, that's trying to uplift you. Because there's people that's going to knock you down because, you know what, they can't get up themselves. He saw that he was in a certain situation where his business was failing. He was going through his own insecurities. And he saw an opportunity to take me down with him. And that's toxic. And if I would have listened to him, if I would have stayed where I was, if I would have just not did my videos, let him, you know, belittle me, I would not be here. I'm telling you guys right now, I would not be here making this video for y'all. I would have not done that modeling gig. I would have not went on that trip. I would have not done anything, period, with my life. I'm telling y'all right now, the people that you have in your circle matter. Your circle matters. It reflects not only yourself, but how your life is going to turn out, your outcome, your future goals, your aspirations. That matters. So whatever. That was back in June when he said what he said. Let's fast forward to, because I said, July wasn't really anything. I was just in school. I did really well. I took yoga again because I like yoga. I like being fit, and I really needed that, to help my stress levels and everything. And I like the way yoga makes you feel. It's about strengthening yourself, and it wasn't just physical, but more mental and emotional. So I'm still in therapy at this point. I'm still grieving. Not as bad. Back then I pushed a lot of my grief and my hurt just to my subconscious, just because I feel like I can only deal with so much at a time. So over time I kind of unlocked it a bit. Like at times I allowed myself to cry. At times I allowed myself to look at pictures of me and my grandmother together. At times I allowed myself to go back to Culver City, which is where my grandmother did live, here in California. I allowed myself to drive past where she used to live. Like certain things I can't do because I know emotionally I'm not ready for it. But I allowed little things like that. Sometimes you have to go through, take it bit by bit. You know what I mean? I looked through some of her stuff, and like her Bible. Like if you're, my family knows, like her Bible with everything. She never not read her Bible. She was always, always, always in her Bible. Like always in her Bible. And I remember being young, I'm thinking, this lady is kind of crazy. Because, I'm just a kid. I'm thinking she's talking to herself, or she's mumbling, thinking it's old age or whatever. But the whole time she was talking to God and confessing great things over our lives, that we're living her legacy now today. So fast forward to August. I met an okay guy, I think in July, August. We started dating. Not dating, but like going on dates and everything. And he was cool. But then he shortly revealed himself to me as well. And revealed himself is because, I told him something very deep and personal about myself, and the way he reacted just made me feel like I was like the lowest piece of scum on earth. And that messed me up a bit, because it's like, here I am rebuilding, and in the process of, getting everything back together, rebuilding, and that one like roadblock just starts chipping away at my progress. And so I'm like, oh, okay, there's this whole gap missing. Like my foundation is gonna crumble if I allow him to break me. So I cut him off recently. I finally blocked him on social media, and I blocked his phone number because I was still trying to give him a chance and allow him to redeem himself. I'm like, just why this person, every time you talk to them, they want to constantly throw things in your face. They want to constantly make you feel bad. They want to make you feel dirty. They want to, just men have a way of just like shaming women that honestly it's just so disgusting. Like masculinity in America is so disgusting. It's very toxic, you guys. And I think back in September, I started talking to my ex again, and I went out on a limb. I think it was like Labor Day or something, and I said, hey, let's go out to breakfast. And then being with him again and seeing him again, I was the happiest girl on earth. I'm thinking maybe he's come as far as I have, as far as like rebuilding and growing up. And he seemed good and okay. And so after that, we went to like the movies later before. I think that was like the last time I saw him was at my niece's first birthday. But the last time us being personally together was, I think like maybe a week or so after we went out to the movies or something like that. Something crazy. And then, I found out some personal things with him. His grandfather was sick and ill, and I'm over here giving my heart out to him, because I'm thinking, I know exactly what that's like, and I'm praying for you, like I really am. And like a week after that, we decided to spend the night together, and we were intimate, and I'm thinking, Like, we're finally back to where we need to be together, you know? And the day of my niece's first birthday, he shows up to the birthday party with like a hickey on his neck. Like, the hickey is huge, you guys. It was huge. I was like, whoa. That looks like something serious. And so I mentioned it. I'm hurt, you know, but I try not to show it because I'm like, you know, I'm not going to show him any emotion, whatever. And he's like, oh, well, kind of like, whatever. Like, pretty much, like, deal with it. You know, we're not together. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I remember I didn't talk to him for a day afterwards, and then I finally spoke to him. I said, you know what, hey, that wasn't cool. That wasn't appropriate. You don't do that, you know? And he tells me, you know, I was going to tell you anyway, that I think we should stop talking to each other because I really like this girl. I have feeling for her. I'm just like, dang, like, I cannot believe that I allowed myself to go and talk to this dude again. And I feel like that was the moment that we actually, I kind of like shut that door. And when I shut that door, I started feeling a lot better about myself. This is back in September. So mind you, we broke up in April. Here it is December, and I finally shut that door to him in September. Like, I'm a mess, you guys, but it's good because it's good to grow up, and it's good to learn, and it's good to go through, like, we're humans, so we go through experiences, and these experiences mold us into who we are. And if you don't learn from them, you're stuck in insanity. Insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over again with thinking there's going to be different results, but you're just doing the same thing over and over again. You're just literally going in circles. That's insanity. And I decided to stop dating, period. Like, I mean, I've been out a few times with some people, but I don't take anyone seriously because I feel like right now I really need to just grow and focus on myself, and I feel like the right person will come into my life at the right moment that God has chosen for me. And since like June up until now, I guess, I've been going to church consistently, you know, versus, you know, I haven't been to church since like the 8th grade, like 2013, 2014. So here it is, 2018, and I'm starting to finally go to church again. In November, I'm okay. Or no, September, October, I'm okay. I took myself out on my first little self-date. You know, I'm back in school. You know, school started back in, like, August and everything. I'm doing really well in school, like, really well in school. Better than ever before. Like, my attendance is on point. I'm doing my assignments. And even though I'm stressed out, whatever, it's like everything's on point. I started my new job back in, like, September, October, doing something that's really impactful and helpful to my campus because I really wanted to give back to the students. I wanted to make some type of presence known. And so I did that. I'm doing really well with my other jobs. At this point, I have 2 jobs. Not full-time student. I'm like 2 units shy from being a full-time student at this point. So I'm doing well in everything that I do. You know, I'm rebuilding. I do have some slip-ups, like where I would text my ex or whatever, and he's like, oh, I'm with my girl right now. And that chipped a bit at me, you know, or I'll experience something with some other guy, and it's like I find out this other dude is like trying to play me on the low, and I confront him about it, and then he just disappears off the face of the earth. So it's like whatever. And I'm dealing with, you know, another guy who I like, and he's like, you know, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship, and it's like I'm at this point it's exhausting. I'm dealing with, you know, my own personal demons, you know, trying to get over my anxiety. I finally stopped going to therapy back in like August, September with my last session, and I've been doing really well. I haven't had any panic attacks, nothing major at least, and just honestly getting through everything little by little. I'm rebuilding relationships with my mother and my sister. This is the first time in a long time where I've been home and by myself, like just been at home, like not living with anybody, not, you know, going back and forth, leaving on the weekends and coming back home. Like, no, like this is the first time in a long time where I've just been at home. So it's a bit different. I'm going out more by myself, going out more with my sister. Me and my friendship is, blossoming. I'm in my friend's life actively, and I get to see, her little run grow up and everything, and it's honestly such a blessing. And to be with my niece so much more, and I'm so glad that I'm able to enjoy this time with her. And now let's see, October, November. November's good. I had to, watch my mother because it was her first Mother's Day without her mom, or her first birthday without her mom. So I try to, keep the peace and, be with them. And it was just mainly about being with family. And between November, December, just be with family, because it's the holidays and everything. And really focus on them with the holiday gifts and being with my uncle. And, being, by this point, I'm a lot more open and confident with myself. Like, I'm talking to people at work now. I'm a lot more extroverted, which I've been usually an introvert, but now I'm out there, outgoing. I'm laughing with people. I'm a lot more secure with myself. Like, I don't care what people say about me. I was blessed greatly with, my finances, because during the whole passing of my grandmother, my financial aid was stripped away from me. So in November, it was reinstated, and I damn near cried and broke down in the financial aid office, because I was like, I could not believe, like, God is continuously blessing me despite all the things I've been through, despite my shortcomings and my flaws. It's like just one more piece fell back into place, and just I can feel the rebuilding of my life, and just starting to get to a more stable point in my life, all because, I'm actively making those changes, and here we are, December of 2018, and I can look back and just honestly be so blessed. I had one last slip up, and I messaged my ex when I was in the hospital, because I was just honestly sick, but then I had my own things going on. Like, I was going through some anxiety, and he really hit it home that he's like, I'm with my girlfriend right now. Like, I'm not going to go see you, or I'm not going to answer your call. So I'm okay, well, out of respect for her and her family and you guys' relationship, I said all ties need to be cut off. Don't message my mother, don't message my sister, don't message my brother, don't talk to me. All of it's cut off. I don't talk to his mother anymore, and I don't talk to him anymore, associated with any of his friends. I remember one of his friends did try to call me. I'm like, you have the wrong number, point blank period. I'm not going to say, oh, we broke up. Just, you have the wrong number. I'm not associated with that person anymore. And I feel so much better. You know what I mean? I went through some things at church. I had an encounter at church, and I was able to let go of some of the bitterness and forgive certain people in my life. I called my dad, and I said, Dad, hey, I love you. And thank you for all your efforts, and just told my mom, I love you. I tried to tell her so much more, I love you, Mom. Like, I really am thankful for you guys. And they're my focus right now, to give back to my parents and to not embarrass them, and to do everything as I need to do it in my life, so they can settle down and retire appropriately, and make sure my brother and sister are good, make sure that, our relationship is healthy, or at least we're working up to a healthy relationship, make sure that I'm in my niece's life and that I'm raising her, or helping to raise her properly, all these things. And right now, I feel like I'm missing something, but I think that's about it. But right now, I can look back on 2018 and say that I'm blessed. I don't have any health issues. I'm not having any financial issues. I feel so good, you guys. I feel so good. And what a difference little changes make in your life, like going to church, like, I mean, they're little changes, meaning like it really doesn't take a lot out of a person to go to church. Like, you just go, like, you go to work, you go to school, go to church. It's one Sunday, I don't get that. Or, if they have, midweek prayer like my church, then it's like one extra day out of your time. Or even look at like sermons online, my church is CWC in Gardena, Community Worship Center, so they live stream some of their sermons and everything, and it's not that hard, stop making excuses. And little things like listening to podcasts, TED Talks, doing research, reading articles, actually getting involved in things that you're passionate about. I took a women's studies course. I aced it. I loved it. And I'm a lot more woke or whatever, but I'm a lot more educated. You know, just get involved. You know, take time out with yourself. Go take yourself out to a movie. Go take yourself out to dinner. Like, allow yourself to have that alone time. Read a new book every month. Go to a bookstore. I haven't been to Barnes and Noble in so long until this point in my life where I walked and I got my first R.H. His name is R.H. Sin. He's a poet, modern day poet, and he's an Instagram page. I got my first book from him, you know, and I fell in love. And I'm reading Maya Angelou. I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings, and just little things like that. Listen to good music. Drink tea. You know, get your favorite mug. Like, I know it's not appropriate, but this was a Christmas gift, but I love it so much. You know what I mean? With the little brass knuckles and the gold. Just little things help. You know, burn a candle. Cut that negative person off, whether it's a friend, whether it's a boyfriend, whether it's a family member. If it's a professor, go to Rate My Professor and make sure you leave a comment and say this person is horrible. If they made you feel a certain way, you don't have to deal with it. Like, life is too short to sit there and constantly deal and try to make things work when there's so much you can do to make things different. You can change it. You know what I mean? There's little things you can do. You know what I mean? Take time out for your health. Go to the doctor. Go to your gyno. Go and get frequent checkups, you know. Go work out. I just reinstated my gym membership back in November. I want to start going to the gym a lot more, you know what I mean? And not just to lose weight, but I want to tone up and just be a lot more strong and build up my endurance. There's so much you can do. So much. In 2019, I'm going to just be the best that I can be. I'm going to be more real. I'm going to, you know, take my emotions into consideration. If I don't like something, if I don't want to do something, if I don't want to be in a certain position, I need to start taking responsibility for myself and take myself out of that situation. You can't blame other people for the reasons why you're where you're at. You can't blame them for anything that you decide to do. You can't blame that person for making you feel like crap because you're still staying with that person. You know what I mean? I understand it's a lot harder or a lot more deeper than that, but if you don't like a certain situation, if they say, hey, change your attitude or leave. Like, it's not going to kill you. Like, baby girl, baby boy, you can make it. Like, nothing's going to happen. Trust me, that person is going to reveal themselves to you very soon. Go ahead and leave a toxic situation, whether it's a friend or a relationship. Leave it and watch how that person changes. Whether they start subbing you on social media, whether they delete their social media so they have absolutely no ties with you, no pictures, nothing. Just start seeing that person's attitude. They start sending you, you know, threatening text messages or whatever. Hit that block and delete and walk out. It's too easy nowadays. It's too easy to cut people off. And if they're really crazy, go to law enforcement. I'm a big believer in calling the police. Get a restraining order. You know what I mean? Or if you're too street for that, handle it then. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much you can do to improve a situation. There's so much you can do to improve a situation. Little by little, you guys. Little by little. Literally, that was my whole year. 12 months. Totally different person. I could look back on my social media and I could say, I don't know what was wrong with me. When I was like 18, I was acting like I was 16, taking pictures like I was 16, posting pictures like I was 16, like, and I had no one in my circle to tell me at that time, like, you need to chill. Like, you really need to chill. So, and it's so important. I have 2 really good friends. Those are the only people that I really, like, go ham with, like, my 2 good friends and then my sister, you know what I mean? But family, I feel like it's a little bit different. But 2 good friends, that's all I need. Ain't nobody else my friend, because ain't nobody else checked up on me like that during 2018 when I was going through stuff. Know your place and just be good. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting. I hope to see you guys into the new year. I hope this helps someone going through something really devastating in their life, whether they're going through loss, a toxic relationship, insecurity, growth, identity issues. Understand that you can We can make it. We can make it together. I'm here with you. I'm rooting with you. And it's okay to have slip ups because we're humans, and that's okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new, like and subscribe. If you really want to share something, just leave me a message or leave a comment down below. I'll leave my social media handles and my email in my description box so you guys can reach me. I want to hear from you guys. If this video meant something to you, let me know. Mwah. Happy New Year!